week's episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. The Tekkadan crew goes into an asteroid field and battles against a group of space pirates. Will there be deaths? Yes, there will. It is amazing how almost nothing happens in this episode and still a lot happens at the same time. The build-up to the big space battle in this episode seemed pretty astronomical, but when they finally got there, it was pretty damn satisfying. And you know what? It wasn't even the mobile suit action that really had me entertained this week. It was probably the Tekkadan crew and Teiwaz going up against the space pirates and ramming their ship with the giant hammerhead ship. It's not just a name, it's not just an aesthetic look. That thing is designed to ram into other ships and to plow them right into asteroids. This week's episode really focused on the character of Akihiro as he gets ready to have a big reunion with his brother Masahiro, who is a part of the pirates. And they do have their big confrontation at the end of this episode, where basically Akihiro throws his weapons away, runs into his brother with his mobile suit, grabs onto him, and tries to bring him back to the Tekkadan crew. The thing is, Masahiro has some extreme abandonment issues, and he can't really seem to come to terms with the fact that he's being saved by his brother, and he feels that he's not even human anymore. He's accepted his role as human debris because it's constantly been beaten into his head over the course of years and being sold to all of these different people. So he decides that he's going to perform the ultimate sacrifice. He ends up pushing his brother away, and then we get to see the return of the Gujin come in, which is that mobile suit with the very large hammer, which may or may not be a Gundam. I do believe it's a Gundam, but mostly because they sort of teased that in the preview of the mobile suit models that they've released. But he ends up getting right next to Masahiro. Akihiro gets out of the way. His hammer just completely destroys the cockpit of this mobile suit, killing Masahiro practically instantly. This scene was really messed up because I almost imagined that maybe Mikazuki was going to get in there and save the day, but Mikazuki was spending most of the episode just completely wasting the pirates. There was that one character who was just completely obsessed with avenging his friend Pedro, who got destroyed this week in a very violent and extremely disturbing scene. You always have to be constantly reminded that these are kids who are fighting against each other, and they're doing it without any prejudice. They're in it to win. They're in it to kill, and that makes the series all the more disturbing. Really, this episode was all about that big build-up to this battle in this giant asteroid field, which I think is also some fantastic symbolism, because they always refer to a lot of these slave children and orphans as debris. The debris is fighting amongst the debris. I don't know what it is about that, but I think it is very fitting. The reunion between Akihiro and Masahiro is frankly just heartbreaking. There's a small second where you really do think he is going to bring him back, and then suddenly Masahiro just decides to start going crazy. I actually thought that he was going to do like a big self-destruct sequence at this moment, maybe try to take out Akihiro with him, like feeling that maybe we should go together, but no, he does have a small moment at the end when he pushes him away, but it does end up costing him his life. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans War? What is it good for? It's good for another episode of Gundam. This was an episode that had some pretty important character deaths, none of which come from the Tekkadan side of the crew, and that honestly surprises me quite a bit. I had a feeling these guys had X's on their heads as soon as they went out into battle, especially the character of Akihiro. I really was convinced that he was going to be gone in this episode. Maybe the Gujin was going to take both of them out at the same time, but that was still a nice sacrificial move by his brother. A very heartbreaking scene, just reminding you how bleak this series really is. Just made even more so by the fact that most of the characters are very small children, and they always remind you that every episode. It's so disturbing that this series has decided to go that route, and yet at the same time, it's also going to make it one of the more distinctive Gundam animes. On the technical side of things, this week's episode looked pretty decent. The animation, the artwork, the mobile suit battles. Like I said, I think my favorite scene, though, was probably the Teiwaz ship ramming right into the space pirates. I just thought that was really cool and just extremely ballsy and also extremely dangerous. It's amazing that they have ships that are designed to do that, and I hope it has some pretty big shields, because if that thing would have exploded when they hit them on impact, I'm not sure how safe that ship would have actually been at the end of the day, but I think it is specifically designed just to do those things. You also have the Isaribi ship, which is doing some great things. While they actually pin them against this asteroid, you have them who are getting ready to bust into their ship, doing what they always do. They seem to be really really good at that. But this episode is defined, I believe, by the big confrontation between Akihiro and his brother Masahiro, which ended in a really big bloody standoff, which is still pretty shocking to me. Not too shocking in the grand scheme of things, because this is Gundam after all. Everybody always ends up getting killed, or someone really important ends up losing their life. But I honestly thought that it was going to be Akihiro this time, and just really shocking episode. It's clearly going to mess with him a little bit. And every single time they focus on Akihiro, I just constantly think to myself, why isn't this guy the main character? To me, personally, he seems more interesting than Mikazuki is, and that's only because at around 12 episodes into the series, we still really don't even know all that much about Mikazuki. They haven't revealed pretty much anything about his past, outside of the fact that he's just a badass, he'll kill on order. But Akihiro, like, we're always learning about him. He's a character who's constantly growing. We know a lot more about his past. And he's not like your typical Gundam pilot. He's just, I don't know. I really wish he was the main character. Why can't it be Space Guts? What I will say is, I did like this episode. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see how it's going to be resolved in the next episode. If Akihiro's just going to go all berserker or something. Maybe Mikazuki's going to get involved. How they're going to take down the space pirates. As well as this big mobile suit, the Gujin. We're just going to have to find out. So, I liked this episode quite a bit. I thought it had some great action and some great drama and tension. So, I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Gundam fans! You might see something you like. But if you did watch this week's episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, please tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. What did you think about the next reunion between Akihiro and Masahiro? Did you have a favorite action scene or mobile suit from this week's episode? What do you want to see from the future of the series? Make sure to tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!